Good morning, everybody. My name is Sheila Ratnam, and I'm on our Global Partnerships team. As you may have seen this morning at our keynote, not only did we launch some amazing products, but we got to do so with really innovative global companies. As Mark mentioned, India in particular is our second largest community of developers. So we couldn't be more thrilled to be joined by some of India's best entrepreneurs. I'll let them do a really quick, brief introduction.
Sure, I'm Abhinav. I'm co-founder and CTO of Practo. Practo is actually a healthcare technology company. We are one of the largest appointment platform in the world, managing about 40 million doctor's appointments every year.
I'm Ved. I work with Myntra. Myntra is India's largest fashion portal.
Hi everyone, I'm Vinod. I'm one of the co-founders and president of Saavn. We are a music and audio streaming service meant for Indians globally. We're at about 18 million users currently and growing.
Perfect. Thank you guys again for all being here. To kick things off, would love to hear about any particular problems that you face in the India market and if Facebook and the developer platform has really helped overcome it. Maybe we can start with you, Vin.
Yeah, so one of the big challenges that we have is registration. And piracy is a very big problem in India. In fact, about 97% of all of music consumption is pirated. And so there isn't necessarily a strong use case for registration. Once users actually register on Saavn, they're able to get the ability to create playlists, to be able to share. And so we started firstly with Facebook Login, which led to some very successful results. And then we just recently implemented Account Kit. And now that in just literally less than 2 months, we're at the #1 form of registration on Saavn today. In fact, registered users are twice as engaged as unregistered users, which then leads to so many different parts of the business being supercharged when it comes to growth, as well as advertising that we get through selling native ads to companies like Apple, Maruti, Godrej, ICICI, Samsung, and what have you. So.
Are there any particular problems that you guys see for building in the Indian market?
Well, the biggest problem in India is the lack of good connectivity. And a lot of problems that we face and we are trying to solve using Facebook's tool are focused on that problem. It's not an easy problem to solve, but a lot of tools from Facebook are actually helping us build very, very quickly on that.
That's great. We've talked a little bit about the challenges, but we also know that India is one of the largest growing regions for a reason. So we'd love to hear about some of the unique opportunities and advantages that the Indian market offers. Abhinav, maybe?
Yeah, so one of the very interesting things is the Indian market is kind of growing really fast. We just crossed 1 billion mobile users in India. And the good part is that you hear the Indian story and you hear about the big cities, Bangalore, New Delhi, Mumbai, but we are seeing great traction in smaller cities, Lucknow, Ahmedabad, Chandigarh, and these are the places where we have much more engaged users and using our product quite a lot. And that's amazing to see such a large number of cities in India who have a great large number of mobile users nowadays actually coming online and actually using a lot of product and services.
Yeah. Anything to add, Ved?
Yeah, I think I completely agree with Abhinav. A lot of our customers are coming from Tier 2 cities. We have all variety of phones, connections. So the problem and opportunities are both very high volume for us. Right?
Yeah, and I would add, for us, India is the largest population in the world that listens to music every single day, right? And the means by which they do it happens to be more on television or radio or IVR services or piracy. It just kind of doesn't have a really great experience around choice or convenience or control. But we think 3 trends of just the devices, Android in particular, coming down every single day, cost of data dropping about 15% every year or so. Now, once there's more 3G and 4G coverage, and just frankly education of just what you can do with data services, we see a lot of what's being talked about in India over the last year is actually really coming to life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So outside of some of the regional challenges and opportunities, we know that it's getting increasingly competitive and you're all in different verticals, but not only are there companies coming up locally, there's a lot of international companies that are trying to build for an Indian audience. How do you think about staying ahead of the competition?
Right, so one of the, and I think it's more of a universal thing rather than India-specific thing, is actually, one is you have a large mobile base and actually the ability to kind of iterate quickly and kind of reach out to a larger audience and kind of iterate over product experiments and kind of fine-tune a product to the audience is extremely important. And having the tool and the ability to kind of get your product out to a larger audience quickly is extremely important. I think some of the tools that that Facebook has, the open source tool, kind of helps quite a lot there.
Yeah. Anything to add, Veda?
Yeah, I think from our perspective, we are equal parts, music and audio, technology, hardcore engineering, as well as data. And so I think you need to have all those three elements in place in order to build a consumer product that can really scale, right, and take on a lot of simultaneous usage. But it's interesting, though, on the media side, it's really governed by the economics of scarcity, and technology is about economics of abundance, right? So we have two very different mindsets of the company that coexist. And so what we did actually last week was launch Savan Originals, right? So in addition to music, now we have the equivalent of podcasts, right, around short stories or culinary arts or tech or short stories that are only available on Savan. It's very similar to, let's say, when Netflix launched House of Cards many years ago. So it's a very interesting way for us to kind of continue to be a product and tech-first company, but at the same time have compelling content that can really just enhance the overall experience.
Right.
Totally. So you mentioned Account Kit as one of the beta products that you worked on. Outside of that, are there any Facebook products that are really getting you guys excited that you're thinking about integrating with?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we are, I think, the biggest consumer of React Native. Our iOS application is entirely ported to React Native, and we have like magical experience with that. We are able to push code very, very fast. Actually, we are working right now to move Android application to React Native. Okay. Love it.
Yeah.
And of course, Parse was one of the biggest tool that we used earlier.
And for us, actually, now a couple of months back, we actually started our content platform. We have about 200,000 doctors on our platform, and who have great tips and great suggestions to share with people with particular health interest. And we are seeing a large number of doctors actually creating content. So the new Share plugin with Facebook, that's a great experience for our user. I think that's going to be very interesting. Save got announced today. That should be out in our product in the next couple of months. I think that's going to be very helpful to reach out to a larger audience.
Yep.
Yeah, we're actually going kind of back to our roots in working with Facebook. Our first partnership was launched back in 2012 around Open Graph. And I think the next version of that with audio stories is something that is going to continue to supercharge the consumption of music, but also now our original audio product too as well. So it's a really interesting concept of being able to actually preview the first 30 seconds on Facebook itself and then get the larger experience on Savan directly. So it's really interesting how multifaceted the relationship is, and I'm sure there's going to be much more in the future as well.
Love hearing that kind of feedback. So I think finally, if you could each talk about maybe, since you're very successful companies that have built for Indian audiences, one piece of advice that you would each give an entrepreneur who's developing in India.
So, okay. So I think the biggest advice would be, focus on the value that you're providing to the audience. Indian market is kind of pretty unique. The problems are pretty unique. So you have to kind of get into that mindset and figure out what the real problems are and go after it. I think that's the most important thing. Once you solve for that problem, again, after that you have much more to solve for. But that's the first thing that you should start with.
Yeah, it's a fantastic point. But the thing is that I would like people to build fast, ship fast, and revert if there is a failure, right? There is no harm in doing that. The primary success of Myntra is primarily because we're able to ship out features very, very fast. And when we fail, we fail. I mean, we just come back, right? So a lot of learning over there.
Yeah, very similar mindset to Facebook.
And I would 1,000% echo what these two guys just said.
Yeah.
It is purely about solving a real consumer problem.
Yeah.
And I think, beyond that, you have to take responsibility for the entire experience end to end, right, in India especially, because there are infrastructure challenges, there's data challenges, payment challenges and all. So you can't wait for necessarily all these things to come around. I mean, you guys have done a great job with cash on delivery and all.
Yeah.
And then I think, probably the most important point is team. I think all of our companies here have been, set a pretty high bar in recruiting the right talent and then also maintaining culture, right, to make sure everyone has an operating system of sorts of how to kind of govern themselves as they kind of grow and scale a company.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. I know this was really short, but I think we got a lot of good stuff in. So thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.